Hey guys, this is Bonfrey from L World, and today I wanted to give you a bit of a viewpoint into how I'm approaching the Halloween event this year for 2021. If you've played this event before, you know there's been some past prizes that have been really good. Some of the buildings from previous years have been had pretty good lasting value, I think, in a lot of cities. And this year, the tent set that they are offering, the clown, I've kind of written it off and I was like trying to just forget, the horror circus. Well, I love the idea of a horror circus and, clowns and terrible things like that. I just don't think that this set is worth putting a lot of energy into because it takes up a lot of space in your city and it just doesn't really give you the buffs that I think would make sense, especially if you're attack focused and if you're looking for other resources. So I'm not even going to bother trying to focus my efforts to collect light bulbs, which would lead to getting this. Now there are other things that'll come up throughout the day, throughout the days of the event, which might be more appealing than these pieces. So I'm just choosing to kind of try to focus a strategy in terms of what I want to get out of this event because it's hard to do it all and to get everything sometimes, depending on your schedule, how often you can collect and things like that. And then I wanted to talk about specifically some, I guess you'd say hacks or shortcuts, not really hacks, but just things that I do to speed along these repetitive mundane tasks, right? Like gathering supplies, gathering coins, increasing happiness in your city, kind of the usual stuff we have to do every single time there's an event. And so I've got a list of things I was going to go through so I can show you some workarounds that you may not have thought of. Some of them you have. If you're a seasoned player and you've done a ton of events, you've probably figured most of this stuff out by now. But if you're newer, maybe you're new to this event or you haven't done a ton of events in the past, this could be very helpful. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. But the two buildings that I'm interested in, and regarding this account, one of the buildings I really wanted to develop in this city was a House of Horrors. So from the last time around, this only got to be a level 5, and the other one ended up being the House of Wolf, which is the one I think is worthwhile. You want to get there, so you're going to need 7 of these, the pieces to get this up to a level, well, the highest level, which is the wolf, and you can select 2 others. I think there's a clown and another one, but I want to focus on attack buffs, so I like the wolf for that reason. So in this case, day 1 kicks off, and here we are. The first thing out on the daily special is the House of Horrors selection kit. It may or may not come up again. I haven't spent a ton of time trying to look ahead and figure out if they may or may not offer this more than once. It's kind of hard to know for sure. But I figured, okay, here we are day 1. I've got to kind of push and do as many of the event quests as I can in order to get enough tickets to increase my chances of getting 2 more selection kits so that I can get this thing up to, where I need it. So that's one of the 2 buildings I'm focusing on for this account, and the other one would be an abandoned asylum, which is like the fully upgraded asylum option, which is a really great, also great ROI per square in your city. It has attack buffs and it gives FP, and it's a really good building. So those are the 2 that personally I'm going to spend or recommend anyone spend their time on in terms of the hottest things in this event. I mean, if you don't have any existing pieces, like say for an asylum, it's going to be pretty difficult to, even if you save a bunch of tickets, it's going to be impractical to get the number of pieces you need to build that from scratch. But you may pick up 3, 4, or 5. I mean, if you want to spend diamonds, there's certainly a chance you could come up with an abandoned asylum, things like that. So anyway, let's dive into some of the details. So I think setting a goal is really important to, whether you want to just try to do it all, or if ahead, you've done some research, you want to know what you want to do. So when it comes to gathering supplies and coins, one of the things that we all hate very much is if we have like an 8-hour production that comes up and that sort of thing. But there's also shorter ones, right? So early in these events, there's typically some 15-minute ones, maybe some 1 hour ones. And as other guildmates go along, they usually list things to say, hey, this is, these are the first 6 quests. I already did them, or the first 20. And here's what you're going to need to do. So if you look at that list, you kind of know what's coming. So if you only have a finite amount of time to play in a given session, you may want to fire up, say you've got a couple quests away, you've got 15-minute builds, run all your buildings at 15 minutes, and then work on other quests. And then by the time you get there, hopefully these have popped, or 1 hour, that kind of thing. So just kind of think about working ahead. Now in this city, this is just kind of a city I mess around with. I don't do a lot. It's mainly just so I can, do videos for the game. This city's in CE right now. But one of the things I've needed to do is focus on getting supplies up in this particular town. So I went ahead and built CE buildings because, as you know, some of the quests that are going to come up will say, well, just do 11 15-minute productions. They're not saying do 11 from your era. If you have to do from your era, you're going to need enough same era buildings to accomplish those quests. So sometimes I mix it up with like these reindeer paddocks. These have been showing up lately in the AD, and I really like them because they can just help in terms of having another building from your same area. They also don't require 2-lane roads like these other buildings do, these high output supply buildings in CE. So whatever it is, whether it's a confectionery, huge or legendary, whatever, those can be ways to buff your supplies as well as get you what you need for some of these events. And of course, the essential, build some blacksmiths out just so you can round out the corners. But let's say that, you need to find, well, in this case, 125,000 supplies. Well, I'm in between collections, and this is a pain because, I got a few options, right? I can build maybe go into my inventory and find some buildings to build and then sell right away that I don't care about, and I can generate income that way. Or I could just literally build, the most expensive buildings to get money back from, or currencies would be your military buildings. So you could, obviously build a few of these and sell them right away. Of course, you don't get back what you spend. There's also a bit of a tip here on that when you need to increase population. As long as I'm on the topic, I'll just mention it. So one of the events is like increase population by 2,600. So if you look at your military buildings, you can see here, like on the lower left, this one is 2,100 population. The air defense is 26. So that's a good one to go with. If I want to immediately create population, I'm going to build that building, and then I'm going to delete it, and that's going to give me 2,600 immediate population. So that's a handy thing to do. I'll just build this now, and I make a habit of trying to keep enough supplies and coins on hand so that I can do things like this. So I'm just going to sell it. Let's see what that gets. It's only going to get me like 90,000 of each thing, but it helps. It helps put it. That did the trick. So now I can collect this and move on. Donate 140 goods or solve the negotiation. I like donating goods to my treasury, so I'll usually donate the goods in this case. But if you want to take the time to negotiate, you can. But what I like is that this didn't say donate 140 from your era or the one below. So you can just pick any era that you're far away from and donate, any era goods. And now I've got the 8 hour 11 times thing. So these I'm going to take out, and I'm going to go ahead and do some 8 hour builds on these, make sure I've got enough. But I can either speed that along with rushes, diamonds, or just pretty much wait. So I'm using a keyboard right now. By the way, another pretty cool thing is I'm a shortcut person. So you see how you have 6 options here on any given supply building. If I want to run the 8 hour, if I hit the number 5 on my keyboard, it's going to automatically pick the 8 hour window. So like number 1 key is 5 minutes, 2 key is 15 minutes, and so on. So I'm going to run all these at 8 hours. And then I'm going to go see down here if I actually have any rushes on hand. I would recommend always buying supply rushes in the antiques dealer. If they pop up, buy them, because they can really help in a time like this. So in this case, I really want to go after this building today that's here, so I can get the 2 upgrades. So I'm going to go ahead and rush this, and I'm going to, I'm going to do the 6 and the 2. That's going to give me my full 8 hours. And now I can, do my collection and hopefully clear this quest. And I was too busy talking, so I probably did something like, maybe I didn't do all of them. Oh, I did. Cool. All right. Usually, you want to count. Typically what I'll do is not, like, if the minimum is 8 hours 11 times, I'll usually do a couple of extras because, some people are really nasty when they snipe you, especially during these kinds of events. They'll actually purposely grab supplies off of your supply buildings, and it can really tip over, an 8-hour build if you only built 11. So I'd recommend building doing 13 8-hour builds or whatever, just in case. And I've actually had that come up quite a bit. So, and then I'm going to just donate some goods to the treasury, and then we will move on. And I was going to talk about some other things because apparently there's more to talk about than I actually realized. So anyway, I'm going to go to the treasury, and then I'm going to donate something here. And sorry for the delay on this. I forget what it was. I'm just going to do 150. And then let's see what else we got. Okay, build 7 decorations. Okay, this is a great one for the example, and then I got to gather coins. So one of the ways, obviously, you can pick up supplies and coins very quickly is either going to the campaign map. If you have open sectors to fight, you get them as rewards. You also have GE. And so I typically like to hold, I try not to speed ahead on GE because that's a place where I can do troop recruitments and also gather coins and supplies, just depending on the situation. Now here it says build 7 decorations. Thankfully, I don't have to build 7 decorations for my era. So what I'm going to do is be a super cheapo, and I'm going to go find decorations from the early days, Stone Age, and I can build a tree or any of these things. So I got to build 7 of these guys, and then that's going to fulfill that quest. So I'm spending very little resources on this, and that's ready. And then now I got to deal with these coins. All right. So now I can, drop a building down and delete it, get coins that way. I can go and let's check in on GE and see where I'm at there. I don't remember. Okay. So I've got some sectors I can work on here. Got my attempts ready to go. So ideally here, I can just work through this and hopefully come up with some, coins and supplies or supplies as a result. Now, there's another way to earn these resources. I'm not going to bore you with those details. One is you can do, if you happen to have the Unbirthday quest unlocked, the UBQ, you can just sit here and just rotate the heck out of this. And like in this case, I got supplies, and I can, excuse this 5 times, and I can just keep hitting it until I get, whatever resources I need. And of course it's costing me, but again, I tend to stock up on supplies and coins for that reason. So that's another place I can get coin awards. Here's another option for getting coins, and that is the antiques dealer. So check this out. I can buy 360,000 coins. So I'm going to do that, and I can actually have that go towards this quest. So now I only need to come up with around 200,000 coins. So you get the idea that there's different ways. Obviously you can go into GBG, and there's ways to get winnings in there, just depending on what you need, especially unit recruitment, because you'll win units in GBG pretty frequently. And then obviously on the continent map, if you go there, I try to keep these as open as I can. So I'm always researching, something ahead, if not have 2 or 3 open, especially during events, because that way I don't have to spend 50 diamonds to, I used this earlier on some other quests. So I used, all the rewards from taking over that part, but it's just other things. And then as you fulfill these other quests, like say spend 81 FP, well, I can fill that quest and maybe get coins as a reward there too. So, you have a lot of options to speed that stuff up. There's the antiques dealer. So what I want to talk about there is you've got the ability, obviously, to put maybe some low value buildings in the antiques dealer. So what I'll do is I'll always have during events, I'll just always load up as many spaces as I have to, and in this case, there's only 3 spots open. So if it asks for 4, I'm kind of screwed there, but I just need to sell another one. But what I'll do is sell what are, in my opinion, low value items, and I'll do a 2-hour sale on these, and that way they're just kind of sitting there ready to go, and I don't collect them until a quest comes up where I need them, and especially if I'm looking ahead. Viewers may be critical that I'm selling a Ritual Flame and Victory Towers, but in all honesty, I get all the metals I need from swaps or from investment threads, and these just take up space, and the output is just lame. And Ritual Flames, I have no interest in city defense at all. It's not my strategy, so I sell all my Ritual Flames because they're not of use to me. So now don't sell your Face of Ancients or the Gate of the Sun God, because those, when you get the upgrades, are totally awesome, because you get a 4% defense while attacking on those, and it's great. In the Face of the Ancient, I don't think I have an upgraded one in here, but it gives you 4% of something. I think it's just attack, which is really nice as well. So that's handy. In terms of circle trades that you can set up with your guild, so let's say it says, you need to acquire 120 goods by trading or from collecting from your city. Well, if you're not collecting, again, got to come up with 120 goods. So what we do in our guild is we just have a message thread for circle trades. We post a bunch of trades up in advance. So we'll post maybe a few different guild members will post between 5 and 15 trades marked for guild only, and then they'll just sit there, and as other guild members need them, they just use them. So just put trading 100 Iron Age for another 100 Iron Age good, etc., and then reverse them, and that'll help you completely blow through the times when you need to collect goods to fulfill a quest. I did mention, again, population, military buildings. That's a great option there. Another thing you can do is temporarily rearrange your city, because sometimes you need to build more of the supply buildings so that you can easily meet these production requirements. Because if you're in a higher era, it's going to say hey, you need to do 8 hours at 22 times. Well, then you got to build enough of these. If you run into a pinch, another little hot tip is the hunter. You can build a hunter in, I think, 20 seconds. So it's the only supply building that 5 seconds, actually. So whereas your blacksmiths take 20 minutes, in 5 seconds, you can drop a hunter, and sometimes that can help, just depending on what you have to get done. Now, they are bigger than blacksmiths, but, it's a 5-second build. And sometimes it'll say recruit troops or recruit units. And if it doesn't say from your era, here's another one that's fun. You can go to build, I think it's the spear fighters. So you can build a spear fighter camp thing in 20 seconds, and then you can actually build spear fighters. They go really fast. I mean, you can just pop these things out. So that's another little thing I discovered over time. And if you need to speed something up, clearly you can do the pay diamonds and things like that, but you can also temporarily store buildings to make room if you need to just rearrange your city for a little while. I mean, obviously GBs, you're kind of stuck there, but maybe you have a medium to low value building that you just are hey, if I store this, I can just have all this extra space. So that's always an option. Clearly, you can just delete larger buildings like this and rebuild them. The problem is with these types of things, they take 14 hours to rebuild. There is another plus with this, and that is that you can control what you want to do when you want to do it, as long as you have store buildings in stock, or you have enough coins and supplies to just kind of throw things down, delete them. You don't want to be resource constrained around event times. So let's jump into here for a minute, and I want to show you kind of how I've been approaching this. So when I buy, ticket packs, I only buy the $3.95 deal, because, if you can do basic math, you can see that, you're getting way more tools for 395 tickets. Of course, you got to get to 395 tickets. So That's always a push, and you got to figure that out. But I am minimizing using my resources, my tools for the light bulbs, because I'm not really focused on getting this building. What I am focused on is getting these dolls, because when you open these up and you go in here, in fact, I'm going to do that right now. That's perfect timing. I can grab this guy, because this is like the first one. I just started playing this particular one today. I can pull him in there and then start. And, sometimes these guys are hard to come by, and he kind of disappears. And the thing I like about getting these going, and I even repeat them, even though if I've done all of them one time, I keep going, because it's like getting free tickets, right? Because what you do is it cascades on, it adds to your other stuff and creates another quest line. So that's just going to give me more tickets as I fulfill those quest lines along while trying to do the main event quest line. So those are great, even though they have a prize associated with them, which is cool. Like if you get all the creepo dolls, you can get these rewards, the collector's reward. But even so, you get other little rewards along the way, like they give you fragments of different things and graveyard upgrade, which I don't give a crap about, but you're getting tickets, right? So, and the graveyard's cool if you want like more of a gothy look. I mean, by all means, get a graveyard. I mean, it's some people, it's not just function, right? It's like you want your city to have a certain vibe. I get that. So fully upgraded graveyard's pretty cool. So basically I'm just mostly focused on trying to find the cool pumpkins, the really, nice ones that aren't all deflated and beat up, so that I can hopefully get the two of these I need. So really that's what I've been working on today. And of course, sadly, I'm almost out of candles for this session. Need to come up with another couple hundred tickets. And of course, the only way I'm going to do that is sitting here and hammering on this stuff in the same way I had mentioned earlier. So hopefully this helps. One more thing, adding percentage of happiness, super important. So one of the ways you can do this very quickly is I tend to not upgrade my roads to like the highest level. Just in general, I kind of leave them at a level lower or something like that, because that's a great way to add happiness super fast. Like, so for example, if I go to the boulevard, let's see, I think I have a boulevard. Yeah. So what I can do here is I can upgrade this 2-lane road with a boulevard, and that's immediately going to give me a happiness buff, right? So, that's kind of neat, but at the same time, you might run out of places to put roads, right? So as you go along, I don't know why this is not cooperating with me. Usually I can just drag it, but anyway, you get the idea. And then another thing you can do, it's a little wasteful, is you can just delete some of your roads and then just rebuild them, and then that adds happiness. Of course, you can, whenever something comes up in the antiques dealer that gives happiness, I always buy it. So, for example, maybe, it's probably not a great example, but a tiki totem, right? If you see that, if I see that, I'll grab it. Or, there's just different things that'll pop up, like, Witch Doctor. I think I picked this thing up in an event. I'll keep these, and I never sell happiness buff buildings, because you always need them for stuff like this, because the premium ones, if you notice, they only take 20 seconds to build. If you try to build like a legit happiness building, from your era or from one before, it takes hours. Like this one takes 14 hours to build a mall, things like that. It's just, not very practical for moving through these quests. So, again, always check your inventory for anything that can increase happiness. Worst case, you can go into the decorations area, because everything in here builds very quickly, and just kind of find the right thing for the right price, whatever you think makes sense for the amount of happiness you're getting. In PME, for example, the statues, I like that the astronaut statue gives you 300 happiness, but it's also 35,000 of each thing. If you've got the money, so to speak, then just build these, and you build enough to, fulfill the happiness requirement. But, you're going to spend some money, some of your resources. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful for those of you that are new, or maybe you're not. And let's see. Yeah, here we go. 16 seconds to build a spear fighter. Here's the funny thing about this. it takes them longer to heal than to build them. So if this guy gets beat up and you're actually using them, it'll take like 5 or 3 or 4 minutes to heal versus like you can just delete it and then just rebuild it again, and it'll build in 17 seconds. So anyway, it's a way to recruit troops very quickly and easily, as long as you're either in this era or the quest isn't asking you. I mean, probably not going to be in Bronze Age, but the quest isn't saying, hey, I want you to recruit troops from your era. The other way to do that is if you have a happy convergence of your Traz and you're collecting on your Traz. But here's the thing: if you've only got a rogue hideout in your city, it's not going to count rogues as a unit that you are recruiting. For some reason, rogues don't count. So what I'll do sometimes, typically, I turn military buildings on and off, so to speak. I'll build them and delete them, and I go into all that in my video about how to use the Traz and how rogues work and all that. But let's say I wanted to do a collection. I'll build an air defense factory, have that going, and that'll just sit here. It doesn't even have to build. As soon as I put that down and I collect on my Traz, I'm going to recruit those units. So obviously, if I have a rogue hideout in my city, I'm also going to get some rogues. But usually, if your Traz is high enough, like 10 or 12, if you're supposed to recruit like 4 units, you'll definitely get 4 units, in the ratio. So anyway, that's another cool little tip as well. But you can't fulfill those quests with just a rogue hideout. So anyway, hopefully this has been good. And if you have any comments or thoughts, put them in the post, and I will talk to you guys soon. I hope this is being of some help. Cheers.